let's go ahead and simplify this trigonometric expression, and which is a sine of x times the cosine squared of x minus sine of x. And there's a lot of techniques for simplifying trigonometric expressions, and so I'll point those out as I go. And at the end of this section, and even in section 5.2, we'll come up with a list of things to do as a checklist of all the different techniques. And so right now, for every example that we try, it's going to be a different technique and different ways that you can simplify it. Okay. All right. So first of all, notice that each monomial right here has a common factor of x. I'm sorry, not x, sine of x. So I'm going to go ahead and factor that out. Okay, so I can factor out a sine of x. So sine of x times what is sine x cosine of x squared? So that's cosine x squared minus sine times what is sine of x? Well, that's 1 right there. Okay. Now, this looks really close to sine of squared plus cosine squared equals 1. Right? This looks really close. If I subtract cosine over here, sine squared of x equals 1 minus cosine squared of x. So this is one of our Pythagorean identities. I subtracted cosine of squared of x, but only one little problem. Cosine squared of x minus 1 and 1 minus cosine squared of x aren't quite the same. However, what if I factored out a negative 1 out of this? Meaning I made this, instead of this being a sine of x, I made this negative sine of x, which will make this a negative cosine of x, and we'll make that a positive 1. Well, check this out. Look, positive 1, positive 1. Negative cosine of squared of x, negative cosine squared of x. So really, this whole thing, this guy right here, is just sine squared of x. You see, this guy is sine squared of x. And then make sure that we bring down our negative sine of x. And what's sine of x squared times negative sine of x? That's just going to give us a negative sine of x cubed. And there's nothing that we can simplify from here. I mean, now we have a monomial. And that would be the end of that guy.